Danny Baker's Breakfast Show. Weekday mornings from 6. Danny Baker on BBC London 94.9.
Digging his hole in the ground, so big and sort of round it was, and there was I, digging it deep. It was flat at the bottom and the sides were steep. When along comes this bloke in a bowler, which he lifted and stretched his head.
I may have hinted as much all morning. Bernard Cribbins is with us. Now, just a little of this before we all applaud, please. Hang on.
Don't dig it there, dig it elsewhere. You're digging it round and it ought to be square. The shape of it's wrong.
When you hear this again, and you've heard it over the... Can you picture the session? Can you think, yeah, I remember that day at all?
I'm sorry, I was asleep there, Danny. I didn't realise what you were talking about, yes.
Can you picture the session, or is it just a blur from that period?
It's almost crystal clear, actually.
Really?
Yeah, because it was the famous studio at Abbey Road.
Yeah.
Number 2, and the lovely George Martin in charge of us, you know.
Yeah.
And a live band, you know. Wonderful.
And would you read from the page, or did you have this one down by the time?
Oh, no, I had it there just in case I made a...
Well, let's enjoy a little more. Hang on.
I just couldn't bear to dig it elsewhere. I'm digging it around because I don't want it square. And if you disagree...
Now, how did you end up as a pop
what,
star?
Here, you mean?
No. How did you end up as a pop star? Because it was given at the time that everyone who was in the entertainment business made a couple of 3 records. It seems to be that way, because everyone from Terry Thomas, Jimmy Edwards, everyone made records at the time. Was it just an accepted part of the...
I think it was, especially those sort of so-called novelty records, you know, which George was in charge of then.
Yeah.
At EMI.
Although, and I said this even before you arrived, let's play our own novelty record in the background. I said before you arrived, they stand up as records, and I don't care what anyone says. They may be silly old subjects and stuff, but those are beautifully crafted things. That and Right Said Fred and Gossip Calypso and etc. etc. They weren't just silly voices, and I mean, you know, you have no disrespect. You got your Terry Scott, My Brother, but that is plainly a novelty record. Whereas you give that something. It's a pretty good song in itself, isn't it?
There was a funny thing with the Hole in the Ground. Count Basie's band was over here at the time.
Yeah.
And Annie Ross was singing with them.
Yeah.
And I met Annie sometime later, and she said most of the band took 2 or 3 copies of Hole in the Ground.
Did
back
they?
to them. Yeah.
Was it covered at all? Or was it?
No, it wasn't covered. I don't think. No, except by probably a kid in Australia.
Yeah.
Who I think did Right Said Fred.
And
I've got to find him and beat him up because he took all the money.
I have got a American copy of Right Said Fred.
Have you?
Yes, it was released there. I don't know if you're aware of that or whether it did any business. I've got an American copy of Right Said Fred. It's a demo, so maybe it didn't get it anywhere else. But did they play abroad, or were they just British things?
I think some of them played abroad, because as I say, the Australian kid did a cover of them.
Yeah.
And made a killing out there, apparently.
Yeah. Well, anyway, why we gathered this morning is, of course, and...
Be good in India, wouldn't it, with an Indian accent?
But I'm sure you did all that, because Peter Sellers, of course, at exactly the same time would have been...
He probably covered it, didn't he?
Well, because he had his hits around the same time, and as I say, everyone was making the records. He was doing From the Millionairess and his...
that was George Martin again.
Yes, of course it was George Martin, In
fact, gracious me.
When I did I finally met George Martin on a programme. I was probably the only person who didn't ask about John Paul, George and Ringo, but said to him, I said, when you did Bridge on the River Kwai and the Hole in the Ground and all of that, and he was a little taken aback. He went, well, that was very early on, and very good of you to remember. that for me, that was it. Anyway, Bernard Cribbins is with us this morning, so
good morning.
It's a magic morning. Hang on. How's about this? The very best of Bernard Cribbins. And sometimes we have to promote things our heart are not in, but you do your best. We're all here to look up, not down, and all of that. And we like to see people do well. But at last, the world has got what it demanded, because this is not just the album, which has been released many times. When you're in the combinations on the front,
yes, indeed.
I've got various incarnations of that. This is 30 tracks right the way through to When I'm 64, including the B-side blues, which I've always liked, and Giggling Gert and things like that too, and the country music one.
You must be the only person who's heard that.
No. The one that was on Transatlantic. Oh, I've got that. I've been following your career closely, young man. Yes, I have,
I'll give you the money later, don't worry.
Anyway, it is out now, and I dare say we can secure some copies, because I know our audience, and I know they would love them. And so we're here to celebrate that and talk about this and that with Bernard Cribbins. What sold more copies? Was it Right Said Fred was the one?
I think so, yes, yeah.
Gossip Calypso was huge as well, though, wasn't
pretty
it?
huge. Yes,
Was that on
I've done it in Panto as well, it's lovely in Panto.
Was Lance Percival furious with it? Because that was his gig, wasn't it, doing a bit of...
a lot of people think it was Lance Percival, so I'm furious with him.
Well, incredibly, before I can't imagine I was ever so young and naive, I used to think that one of yours was A Day at the Seaside, which I think was Vince Hill did, A Day at the Seaside. That sounded exactly like one of your songs.
I was asked to do it because it was going to be on Eurovision, wasn't it?
That's right, yes, A Day at the Seaside.
Yes, I was asked to do it and it didn't work out.
I can't get a copy of that. If anyone's got a copy of that out
pretty
there.
darling, whatever.
The Great Lost Song, what on earth were you thinking when you turned that down?
I don't know, perhaps I was ill at the time, I don't know.
I've got your EPs as well, my friend. So, how's things generally?
I'm sorry, I was asleep again.
Would you take a couple of your tablets and pay attention, would you?
Yes, I will.
Are you working around at the moment? You doing much? I know you've got 22 of these interviews to do today.
Yes, I have. That's really the week's work today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was saying to you, a year ago, Good Enough on the show here, they asked us to promote a film for London Comedy Week and select one, and it was an honour to get the Wrong Arm of the Law going on. And we were talking about that off the air just then, and you've got your Hollywood, and I know, you've got your Bollywood these days, and you've got your Cannes Film Festival going on at the moment. But that film was mainly shot where?
Round Teddington. The studio was Beaconsfield, and then a lot of the location was in Teddington Gasworks Yard.
Ladies and gentlemen, Teddington Gasworks Yard. There's the British film industry. I think, but what a piece of work to come out of Teddington Gasworks Yard.
Absolutely, and the level crossing there and everything.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not to suggest, of course, these days.
Prime location.
Not to suggest these days that you're not picking and choosing the plum gigs. But how busy were you in that year? Were you going back to back with films? Because
I wouldn't have had time to come on your show. Let's put it that way.
Oh, there's one in the eye for me then. I'm well and truly reproached. But you were doing back-to-back movies. There was a lot of work around
throughout the 60s.
in the movies.
Great, yes.
How about the Doctor Who film? Do you remember much about that?
No,
you don't. Yeah,
I do actually. Lots and lots. Yes.
And She? Are you in She?
I was in She in Israel.
Of course.
Yes.
She, there was
I was blown up on She, got 43 extra holes in my little body.
Yeah, you were blown up on She.
Would you care to see them?
No,
this isn't television.
Just stand out in the alleyway and let the wind whistle through them.
Yes, I sound like a flute concerto.
But you were blown up in that, were you?
Yes, I was injured rather seriously. Yes.
But as an actor, we're talking about your broader roles, the ones you're best known for, are there any roles that you say, well, nobody knows I actually did that? Have you ever done the villain, a monster, or a killer, or something like that?
No,
What's the most unlikely role you've played?
The only villainous thing I was allowed to do was in Hitchcock's last film, Frenzy, when I played the rather nasty landlord.
I've called Barry Foster. Yeah. And you played the landlord.
Yes, rather nasty with Anna Massey, very rude to the lady.
Yeah.
Yes.
And is that a yearning of yours that you actually didn't get?
I'd be a very good villain, actually.
Yeah,
I would.
Yeah,
chirpy villain.
I mean, because I think the other way round, where you get a lot of the dramatic people, so they're allowed to go over and do comedy. But did you ever feel you ever kind of held back from that stuff and saying, "Oh, it's Bernard Cribbins, he does this sort of thing"?
Yes, of course. Yes, you're typecast. Whatever you do, you're typecast. Jack Palance didn't do a lot of funny stuff, did he?
No, he didn't.
Until the cowboy thing,
No, exactly. Yeah, but could Jack Palance have been Perks, the station master in the railway?
I tell you what, you would have all bought a ticket, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Well, I'll keep them here, little sound clips from that, and I've got your little Buttercup speech.
Have you really?
I never saw anything more like a Buttercup.
You must get out more, Dan.
No, you've landed on your feet here amongst friends this morning. So anyway, Bernard Cribbins is with us. It is to promote the very best of Bernard Cribbins, which is out on CD, 30 tracks, which we'll be examining when we return in Stanza. I believe we're away. Away you go there, Marcel.
Accident for the M1 southbound causing delays from junction 11 down to 10. 2 lanes are blocked. The A414 restricted. 1 lane closed both ways between the M11 and London Road due to an overturned vehicle. M25 clockwise heavy junction 5 at Sevenoaks. Anti-clockwise slow junction 29 to 28 this morning around to the A12. Clockwise looking heavy as well coming around from junction 30 at the A13 over the QE2 bridge and into Kent. Anti-clockwise slow into the roadworks 14 to 12. Clockwise junction 10 to 13 looking slow. Big problems for the A12 Eastern Avenue westbound between basically at Gants Hill roundabout. We've got completely closed coming into town. This is all due to a serious accident. So bus routes affected number 6, 145 and 366. This is causing horrendous delays around the local area. All traffic really very, very busy, especially as you come off the M25. So watch out for that. On top of that, on the North Circular, we have got queues westbound. We've got a broken down vehicle in Edmonton at the junction of 4th Street. We've got a lane closed there. That's causing queues back to Montague Road, but loads of extra traffic using the North Circular as you come down from the M11. They're getting onto the North Circular instead of heading off on the A12, and that's all due to the accident there. So extra traffic around there, I can say. Over in Ilford Hill westbound heavy at Mill Road. We've got queues over Kew Bridge, northbound up towards Chiswick Roundabout, and Castle Bar Hill near Ealing is still closed due to an ongoing incident. Public transport on the Underground, everything's back to normal now for the Waterloo and City Line. The weather, though, sunshine can be largely unbroken until cloud increases later. Top temperature 24 degrees Celsius. Kate Allen, BBC London 94.9. Next update at 8:30.
The headlines. Police are searching for a man who stabbed a motorist to death after an accident in Ilford last night. Firefighters in parts of England have been taking unofficial industrial action. It began in Greater Manchester, where 19 firemen were suspended for refusing to use new equipment. And 7 men are due in court this morning, charged in connection with an attempted £18 million robbery at Heathrow Airport on Monday. They're all from Berkshire and West London. BBC London 94.9. It's 8:16.
This is BBC London 94.9.
It all started here, way back when David slew Goliath.
No!
So? 1297, the Scots, led by part-timer William Wallace, rout the mighty English army at Stirling Bridge.
And your point is?
Rorke's Drift, 1879. A handful of Welsh engineers and infantry hold out against 3,000 Zulu warriors.
Look out, warrior! Do me a favour. The underdog story happens this Saturday when the Lions of Millwall face the mighty Reds of Manchester in the FA Cup final. Say it.
Millwall versus Manchester United, live and exclusive in FM stereo, this Saturday from 2, only on London's radio station, BBC London 94.9. History in the making.
Nice.
Bernard Cribbins good enough to be with us this morning. It's a magic morning one way and the other, and lest he thinks I just make these things up, I keep all these little mini discs over here for the essentials for the programme, and always on them there'll be bits and pieces that I know on rainy mornings in October will lift the audience, and here's one of those now. I haven't played this as much as we have Daddy My Daddy, but we'll just play a little of this behind, and Bernard Cribbins is with us. Here we go.
So you've been going round telling the neighbours that we can't make both ends meet. Well, now you've disgraced us as deep as you can in the neighbourhood. You can just take that old pack of tricks back where it came from. I'm very much obliged, I'm sure. I don't doubt but what you meant it kind, but I'd rather not be acquainted with you any longer if it's all the same to you.
Look here, we'll go if you like, and you needn't be friends with us anymore if you don't want to. But before we'll always be friends with you, even though you're nasty to us. But before we go, do let us show you these labels that we brought to put on the things.
I don't want to see no labels except proper luggage labels in my own walk of life.
Oh, please let Bobby show you the labels.
Oh, all right, go on.
Well then, we wrote down everything everybody said when they gave us the things with the people's names on. Because Mother said that we ought to be careful. Because, well, I wrote down what she said, and you'll see. That's from Mother. She thought Mrs. Perks might like some of Phyllis's things.
I can't do much. But bless us. Well, that's all right. I mean, your ma's a born lady. We'll keep the little frocks and whatnot, Nell.
Yes, Albert. Then there's the perambulator and the gooseberries and sweets. They're from Mrs. Ransom.
I can't send the pram back, Bert, and I won't.
So don't ask.
I'm not asking anything.
Then there's the shovel. Mr. James made that for you himself. And he says... Oh, where is it? Oh, yes, here.
No, you can read it.
He says, you tell Mr. Perks, it is a pleasure to make a little trifle for a man as is so much respected.
Yeah, he was a good chap, that. He's a very good chap, that. Yeah, not bad at all, that chap.
And everybody who gave anything said they loved you.
And we could go on and on and on. Bernard Cribbins, come on, give it up. Absolutely dominating scene for me. It is. What do you feel as you hear that there, Bernard? What did you feel? You going again?
I get slightly tearful, actually.
No, I'll bet.
It was.
I'll bet.
It was a very nice age to do, you know.
Yeah, I'll bet.
It was great, and everybody was so good in it.
It was
nicely understated, too, because Lionel didn't let you go way over the top.
No, and it had a wonderful payoff. I think that's the same with the payoff. You say, all right, because it's your birthday, and you reach out and get the bottle of beer, of course, isn't it? Yeah. That's a lovely payoff to that.
That was my gag.
You're joking, really?
No, well, they're drawn the curtains on the bed, you see.
That's right, yeah.
And the inference is that he's going to enjoy conjugal rights.
Of course, there is a little bit.
And then the payoff was that a hand comes out and gets the bottle Butler
Big
Stout.
Butler Brown, Brown Ale. Okay, seriously,
my gag.
I mean, I know, of course, it behooves us to get too deep and stuff, but I know you are not necessarily just the general,
idiot is the word.
The kind of thing, this sort of thing, and you obviously are musical. You didn't tumble into this. You've got 30 tracks on the CD. I know there's more where that came from. What are your musical preferences?
I started off, I suppose, with the blues. Black blues. I used to love those.
Big Will Brunsey and stuff, and
Brunsey,
Robert
Johnson.
Yeah.
Not so much Johnson. He's a bit harsh, I think, for me.
Really?
But Sleepy John Estes was the first record I ever bought.
So did you frequent coffee houses and stuff? And
No. I was working in the theatre all the time from 14, so I never got a chance. I can't dance. Never learned to dance because I was, always in the theatre at night. But I used to just love blues and things.
Did you ever want to, or have you ever tried to make a straight album? Do you feel you're because the voice has a certain. Forgive me,
there are a couple of tracks on here. I mean, I've grown accustomed to her face, for instance, which I think turned out very well. I think it's good.
I'll bung that on the set. But did you?
I would like to. Yes.
Would you ever presume to have done a bluesy album a while back? Because there's a certain rasping in the voice. As I say, having took a lit me a fag and never took a drag or replied. I know I go on about
that's
that.
The one.
But there's an absolute core of there's soul in there. There really is.
I mean that's came from my early love of blues.
Yeah.
So.
And you're enjoying the performance, obviously, yeah.
Yeah, loving it. Yeah.
Did you make a lot of money out of the records?
No, not particularly, no.
And I suppose that wasn't the point. You just knocked these things out, then you keep the profile up.
Huge enjoyment to do them, and, the long-range applause is marvellous, like today.
Where did they get to? Were they never number one?
I think number 6 was Hole in the Ground, or Fred, one of the two, got to number 6, which was... quite, top 10.
And was it overwhelmed by, certainly George Martin's time must have certainly been taken elsewhere after that. Was it overwhelmed by the kind of beat explosion, or did it coexist nicely with it?
I think they were sort of dying out anyway, but George had a programme on TV or radio, something recently, and he reckoned that television knocked out all these sort of comedy records.
Yeah. You see, the affection they're held in. Occasionally we do these mornings when I just play, for want of a better phrase these days, you call them kids' records, because the only place they ever get airing, even going back to, such different things as sort of Nelly the Elephant and Goodness Gracious Me and certainly these and stuff. It does seem a completely lost art, if art is not too strong a word for it, because nobody would presume to make these days.
No, they wouldn't.
No.
Not at all. I think they're listened to from a nostalgic point of view.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's a new audience for them particularly.
No. Well, you say that, and yet...
my daughter's 6 and loves it.
Yeah.
Just never gets to hear it.
Yeah, but she's fearfully sensible, your daughter.
That's true.
The thing is,
there is that.
People think... the thing about pop music, people always say, the kids don't want to hear, your old records, your male records or whatever, and Led Zeppelin records. There may be a grain of truth in it up to a point. And yet, anyone who doesn't play these to their kids in their very formative years, or just want to, barrel down to the coast with the roof down on the car and this kind of stuff playing, singing at the top of your lungs, is certainly missing out a huge part of life, I think. But do you still perform at all the song?
Yes, I last did Gothic Calypso and Hole in the Ground, or Fred, I forget. Fred it was.
Yeah.
At a concert last summer over at a place in Surrey called Coverwood.
Yeah.
We had an early evening concert with some operatic voices and some trumpet music, flutes and all sorts of stuff, and me doing a bit of rubbish and these as well.
So what constituted the rubbish then? What would have been
just a bit of patter and a bit of reading and a bit of Winnie the Pooh and all sorts of stuff,
And just a little of this for a second, before we carry on, just have a little of this.
Gossip Calypso, hear all about it, yakka yak yak. Every woman up at the window, giving out the gossip and getting it back. Oh, Mrs. Brown, well, how are you now? I tell you, I've had a shocking time with her, and any stomach don't talk to me.
It's hard to interrupt these, and I know I shouldn't, but there you go. We aren't licensed for dancing, and it's already breaking out the background.
You need your sort of breath control for this one.
Oh, bet.
I mean,
one take?
One
take?
More or less. Yeah. This started off, actually, when I was going to record this, George Martin said to Ivor Morantz, the guitarist, he said, Ivor, come and do this Christmas for me with it, and I sang it to the guitar, and that was it. And then he said, right, and people were leaving the studio, and he said, Manny, have you got your flute? Yeah, come over here a minute, yeah, and just have a look at it. And it was literally pop, 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 put it together in bits, down the street.
Did you ever work with his perhaps some might say more famous co-partners? Did you ever work with the Beatles at all yourself?
No.
You never rubbed up against each other on a Morgan Wise show or anything?
I met Paul McCartney. I was doing some directing in Germany in 1972, and it was my very first day to direct television, which I'd never been trained to do, and I thought, I can do it, and I did. But anyway, I go out of the hotel in the morning to get in the wagon to go to the studio in Munich, and there's a large bus there with Wings Over Europe on the side, and a man walking up and down with a very small red-headed baby.
Yeah.
And he said, hey! And I said, hey! Literally, I'd never met the guy.
And you both got
we had a nice chat, and he was very complimentary and cheered me up. I was really shaky.
And did you, because we're talking about that this morning, we're saying one of the things we're doing this morning, Amy there was sat yards from her hero last night, Morrissey, and Mark was saying, the fan in you that lives deep inside, and occasionally you think, I've always wanted to meet my hero over there on the other side of the room. I'm glad I didn't meet him when I was 12, I'd have gone to pieces, and yet you find as soon as you approach him and you get there, you go, and it all comes back again.
No.
Have you ever had that experience apart from McCartney?
No, I don't think so. I didn't have it with McCartney. It was just like meeting a friend, actually.
Yeah.
It was like a mate.
But is there an actor or someone who you think, I think I'd go to pieces if ever I met them?
No, I don't think so. I think I've been at it too long now.
Well, actually, I can't come
I could fake it.
Perhaps we're a little... what impact did the actual Right Said Fred group have on... Did it have any impact on you at all? Or did you view it from an amused distance?
What did you think of their song?
I liked some of the songs, I must say. I thought they were good little songs, Again, they could have been translated back to where we were making records.
Yeah. Funny enough, this morning before you came in, somebody said, from the Carry On films. You didn't do that many, did you?
3.
Jack.
Spying,
that was
Spying, of course.
And the last dreaded one, Columbus.
Yeah, of course, the last one. Yeah, but it counts, we'll allow it. I'll put it in the...
The Society for the Neutralisation of Germs.
There was that.
Or SNOG.
Of course it was. Of course it was SNOG.
I forgot that.
Oh, Mrs. Booth, have you heard?
So you did 3 of those, and you were talking with, we glossed over our great film on the show, the show's official film, which is Wrong Arm of the Law. But you, the whole gang in that, Sellers, yourself, it was Sellers' first thin film, if you know what I mean, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He looked $1 million.
I thought Sellers in that was absolutely brilliant because the switch between his French couture and going back to Jack the Lad was absolutely spot on.
In the salon where he's giving it all of that, oh, madame, you've never looked better, 1 or 2 adjustments, and he edges over to his assistant.
Leave it out.
Yeah, he goes, just stuff a belt up the back.
Wonderful.
And of course there's this Sellers film coming out. Now I take it you'll avoid that, will you?
No, I shall have to see it. See what it's like.
You're going to see if someone plays you in it. That's what.
No, they won't be playing me. No, there's not me. There's not much of Harry Seacombe, I don't think.
Really?
Johnny Vegas was up to play Harry Seacombe. Did you know that?
Wow.
That would have been a disaster, wouldn't it? Sorry, John.
No. Former studio guest, of course, Johnny Vegas. Well, there's just a little more of this before we have to wind up this morning.
Calypso, gossip, calypso. Hear all about it, yak, yak, yak.
Do you still keep in touch with George Martin at all?
Not particularly. We exchanged Christmas cards.
Yep.
And he collaborated on a programme we did not long ago about Ted and Miles, who wrote the music.
Right, okay, sure, yeah. Tell us a little about those, of course, because we're presuming here, of course, it was yourself and George Martin, but of course these did spring from the Rudge pen, didn't they?
And Miles Rudge wrote music and lyrics for Holding the Ground, Right Said Fred. Gossip Calypso was Trevor Peacock.
Okay, right, okay, yeah.
In the Vicar of Dibley,
of course.
Very, very good actor.
Yeah. So
he also wrote Mrs. Brown, You've Got a Lovely Daughter.
Oh, well, look at that.
Which went to number 1 in the States.
Absolutely huge hit in the States.
I think he bought suits for all his friends.
Well, it is the very best.
If mine is a success, I'll buy you a suit, Danny.
Yeah, right.
You could do it.
Please. I'll get it at 5:45. What do you want? It is the very best of Bernard Cribbins. Of course, it's on EMI as it would have been. And there's a million things we could have touched upon this morning. And if you think you went earlier on, when you listen to that bit of the Railway Children, here's the thing that makes everybody go, hang on, where is it? This'll do it. This is, thank you very much for being with us, Bernard.
A great pleasure.
We'll
nice
play
to
out
see
with
you
this.
again.
And all the best with the rather gruelling schedule of talking about this 21 more times today, but I think it sells itself. All those songs on it. I'm sure we only touched on the big ones, but we want to sell it. Here's how we'll play out this morning. This, of course, as if there could be another.
The train slowly pulled out of the station. Bobby was left standing there, looking at the steam drifting away. And as it was clearing, she saw a tall figure standing alone on the platform.
we've all gone. Oh, Mr. Parks, but what do you mean? Oh, pointing at the newspaper legend at Mr. Bernard Cribbins. Thank you very much indeed. Way you go then.